We must stop the terror. Now watch this drive.
Why are you gay? You are gay.
Welcome. Good to be back. Let's kick it off how we normally get this show going, right? Upcoming dates this weekend: May 9th, Hannah, Alberta; May 10th, Medicine Hat, Alberta; May 22nd, New Glasgow, Nova Scotia with Sam Walker, as well as May 23rd in Halifax, Nova Scotia; May 29th in Lacombe. That's just added. That'll just be myself. Very limited tickets left for that if you wish to come. June 5th in Morinville, Alberta, just myself. June 6th and 7th in Kelowna, BC. Limited tickets left there. Added to the list. Here we go. June 12th in Churchbridge, Saskatchewan. June 13th in Bienfait. I don't know how to say that. June 14th, Yorkton, Saskatchewan. June 15th in Calgary. June 20 and 22nd in Niagara Falls. July 20th in Bloomington, Minnesota. August 10th in Phoenix, Arizona. August 4th in St. John's, Newfoundland. That'll just be myself. Just added also October 11th in Toronto, Ontario. October 17th in Berwyn, October 18th in Grand Prairie, November 28th in Sydney, Nova Scotia, and December 5th in Red Deer, Alberta. DangerCatShop.com for tickets. Head on over to the Patreon, patreon.com/DangerCat69 if you wish to support this podcast for the cost of one beer a month. The cost of a beer to help keep this show alive, because it is practically dead. Let's get into it. I've been missing now for just over a bit of a week. We haven't done an episode, and this will be in 2 weeks. A lot has happened. The election has taken place. Many people have their own thoughts and opinions about it. We are up in arms. The elbows are now down. The tax has been axed, I believe. What else? What other slogans can we put to rest? Enough with it. The most satisfying thing about the elbows up thing is that one of the first names to come out of the P. Diddy trial was Mike Myers. What did I tell you, folks? What did I tell? Elbows up? No, elbows deep. At a Diddy part. Baby oil not needed. Mike Myers on national television telling you elbows up, pointing to his elbow. That's how far P. Diddy had his hand up Austin Power Bottom's hoop. And that's being reported here first on the Uncle Hack podcast. Tune in every Thursday at 3 p.m. But no, I contracted a sickness last week while traveling back from St. John's, New Brunswick. Show's wonderful out there. The East Coast. I have spent a good portion of my time making fun of those on the East Coast, but I do enjoy them as people. You are not going to have a better time than those folks. Friendliest people on the planet. When we talk about friendliness in Canada, it is a representation of East Coast hospitality. And I'm going to leave it at that. Those folks are what I've never had a conversation where a stranger asks me, what am I doing today? That's how just curious they are. What are you up to today? And I was flabbergasted. A man, and we're talking like we're not beside each other in a restaurant. We're not, in a convenience store. This man was in a elevated parking lot that was probably, I want to say there was a nice 10-degree slope to get up him. It would take me a treacherous hike to get to eye level with this man. And I just smiled, nodded at him as I'm walking to the venue. And he goes, "Hey, how you doing?" "Not bad. How are you?" "What are you up to today?" And then we have like a 2 to 3 minute conversation. I continue walking. This man then drives down the block. He parks. And he gets out of his car to talk with me some more. You're not from around here, are you? Nope. And we have a lovely that's the hospitality, that's the friendliness that Canadians used to exude. Okay? That's old Canada coming out. Now I know many people, well, Canadians are supposed to be nice. No. Have you been in a city? The violence has skyrocketed. Everybody minds their own business. They look down. There's no eye contact. You don't smile at strangers in a city. Out in the East Coast, you're considered weird if you don't do that. And I like that. We need to bring that back. So anything negative that I say about the East Coast, disregard it. Because deep down, I have love for you. And I enjoy you as people. I want you to know. And one of the funniest things I think I've ever seen, you want to see two black belt martial artists go at one another when it comes to accents. You watch an East Coast accent versus an East Indian accent. I got to witness this in the flesh. And let me tell you, folks, I have never been so locked in to a conversation in my life. I am in a burger joint in Fredericton, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick. My apologies to those out in Fredericton. I am in a burger joint about to grab a nice, delicious cheeseburger. And a Uber Eats driver enters the establishment. And now you can imagine the thick accent. Very hard to understand at times. I think we can all agree with that. That's not a racist statement. It's very difficult to understand. How many times do you have to say, pardon me, or what, when you're talking to anybody in the call center that rings you up to be like, hey, by the way, if you want to upgrade your phone, what? You know, I don't need to do that. You know what I'm talking about. Now I'm watching these two. It's like jiu-jitsu. This is UFC 1, where we are putting martial arts against one another. This is UFC 1. East Indian accent, East Coast accent, and this guy is trying to figure out where the pokey place is. Where's pokey? That's what he's asking. Pokey. And it's back and forth. What are you saying there, bye? Pokey. And back and forth. And after, pokey. Oh, I get that at home from my husband. And there's fucking, I'm dying at this point. Inside, I am crumbling. And I am just waiting for a cheeseburger, keep in mind. I was not prepared for such interaction to take place in front of my eyeballs and for my cerebellum to have those acoustics ring around in it. So now I'm dead. I am ready for... Pokey, he hits her with. No, thanks. I get that at home. Holy shit. And as somebody who can kind of understand both, I don't even know what they were talking about, to be honest. I just caught the pokey, and then at the end, I get it at home, thanks. It's a chef's kiss. You can only imagine that type of conversation taking place if you're Canadian at this point. And India, you know what, is taking some hits. They are taking some hits. They're now at war with Pakistan. But that's not the war we're considered about. Okay? Nobody's going out to... Who's going out to... Are we going to see Emily out in the streets with a Pakistani flag? Are we? That's my question. Are we going to be able to generate some form of social justice around this war? Are we? I highly doubt it. This is going to be one of those wars that just kind of everybody looks at and goes, what the... You know, the Ukrainian war, we were able to paint Vladimir Putin as a fascist dictator, which then, you know, this excites the brains that just can't comprehend. I gotta fucking say something. I mean, I see them every week. They're downtown Edmonton, Ukrainian flags on a Sunday. They're all waving them, and you're just like, you're exhausted at this point by seeing all this in the streets. It has nothing to do with my empathy towards those going through a war. It has nothing to do with that. It's just at this point, I want something fresh. I want something new, and I don't think it's going to come in the form of a war of Pakistan and India. right now, the general consensus with folks is, you hear this in the election. You wanted these politicians to speak on mass immigration that's taking place inside of the borders of Canada, and they completely ignored it. They briefly touched on it. There was no clear or concise plan on how to attack it moving forward, which, understandably so, because you're trying to garner votes. You've brought in a brand new population of people. They are now eligible to go to the polls. So what do you got to do as a politician? You got to go to these places and you got to put on the costume. You got to do the dance and try and garner some form of support for your political party. I get that part. Is it annoying? Tremendously annoying. But I don't know how we are going. How are we got to get Mr. Beast in on this challenge. You know what I mean? This is a Mr. Beast level challenge to get folks out in the streets. Who are you going to support? Pakistan or India? Seeing as there is a majority of Hindus in Canada, I'm going to probably put my dollar down that many are going to be going Pakistan. And now I know this is fuck, I can't even get through this bit with a straight face. I apologize. The idea of thinking that people are going to be out in the streets with Pakistani flags kills me. Because we're already seeing that who's blocking anything. Who's blocking anything? India's taking a hit. They are. And just now, we have to give them credit where it's due. I am sorry. That's not what you expected to hear from me in this moment, but we have to give the Indians credit where it's due. We have something very important to present to you early on in this podcast, and I know I don't like leaving cliffhangers, but we are watching the evolution of the country of India unfold in front of our eyes. And I don't think that there is a culture or a population of people that have just grabbed themselves and furthered their culture to a point that you look at it and you think to yourself, wow, good for them. For the second time this year, and Air India here's the headline. Okay, folks, here's the headline. For the second time this year, Air India flight from Toronto to Delhi diverted due to clogged toilets. We have to give credit where it's due, because last year, roughly around this time, almost a year ago, we seen that woman on TikTok going ballistic over, what the news calls South Asian men defecating on the beaches of Wasaga, and now we're seeing it in heights we've never seen, and that's pun intended. Oop, there it is. We are seeing this now. It's taken to the skies, and Prime Minister Modi should be very, 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 very ecstatic over the barriers that his people have not only leaped, they have launched themselves over. This is incredible. It's the second incident to affect a nonstop flight from North America to India in 2 months. 2 months, they have diverted 2 planes. This is it. For this, let's get into the article. For the second time this year, an Air India flight had to be diverted after a number of its plane's toilets were clogged. The latest incident occurred on a Delhi-bound flight that originated from Toronto last week. Air India flight AI 188 of May 2nd, 2025, operating nonstop from Toronto to Delhi, was diverted to Frankfurt due to a technical issue. An Air India spokesperson told the Indian Express the flight was airborne from Frankfurt within a couple hours and proceeded to its destination. We would like to reiterate that Air India, The safety and well-being of our customers and crew remain top priority. According to the report, the flight was diverted after an unknown number of its toilets were clogged. It is not known what caused the plumbing issue. I'm telling you, Mr. Beast, give me a call. I have a challenge for you. I think you take 10 to 15 Americans and put them on that flight, and the last one to leave the flight, the last one to get off board of that flight can win $1 million. I'm here all day. You can hire me. I will be in the writer's room with you, right alongside you. I don't even need a penny. Just give me writing credit for all I care. Help me apply for a green card to the United States of America so I can work in the great country of stars and bars. That's all I ask for. Very simple. I'm sure you have the poll. I'm sure in the next coming 3 elections, we will see a YouTuber running for president of the United States, and I would elect you. I would advise you along your campaign trails, and by no means do I need any credit. I don't need the limelight. Just allow. That's what I'm saying. You put me in the YouTuber room, and I'll give you ideas like this all day long. The latest incident, according to the report, okay, we got that. The latest incident comes 2 months after a similar situation forced an Air India flight from Chicago to return to O'Hare International more than 10 hours after takeoff. Upon landing at Chicago, all passengers and crew disembarked normally and have been provided with accommodation to minimize inconvenience. According to the report, crew members investigated the issue and found polythene bags, rags, and clothes that have been flushed down and stuck in the plumbing after 8 of the 12 toilets no longer flushed. This led to the lavatories to become unserviceable. The flight, which was over the Atlantic Ocean when the crew realized most of the toilets were backed up, was required to return to Chicago due to nightmare restrictions at most European airports, an Air India spokesperson said at the time. Oh my God, so they're even turning around Air India flights? And then, I know, this isn't an immigration issue. We're not going to get into that. But I just wanted to, come on this podcast and give the flowers. This has to be a world record. 2 flights turned around due to clogged toilets within 2 months. Guinness needs to get this country a plaque. Prime Minister Modi should be applauding this. This is something that we've never heard of before, and now we've put these gentlemen in the air, and we're seeing things we've never seen before. We're seeing reports. Air India. You read some things and you just become lost for words. That was one of those things I seen, and I wanted to share it with you because we need to give the Indian men their flowers. We do. We spend enough time, perpetuating these harmful stereotypes. We do this, and now we've witnessed a culture that went from being advised not to defecate on beaches to clogging toilets 80,000 feet in the air. This is an incredible feat. Not only have they put a lunar lander on the moon, but they are now taking the one stereotype to new heights. You gotta give them credit. And many of you may be sitting here and thinking, like, wow, this is just such a misogynistic, racist take. And I am not. I am being positive. I'm turning over a new leaf. And that's what this show is going to be moving forward. Nothing but positivity. We're going to be talking about positive things. And this is positive. Oh, I'm still a little something. I don't know what I contracted in that airport. I tell you. I don't know, but you get a mix, like maybe my immune system just, this is a clear sign that if I was to travel to any said countries where most of the demographic inside of the airport similar to Pearson in Toronto, my immune system is quite not ready to take on such a task. And that is a good sign, because when you're in an environment like that, it is like you don't have to travel hours and hours. You know, you don't have to take an overnight flight to learn this. You get it right there in your own country. And that is exactly, again, a positive thing, something to learn. The election results. Let's get into it, folks. A lot of us aren't happy. We are seeing some folks here in Alberta that are chanting about separatism. We have the left now that have paraded around a international banker as if this is going to be the savior of the Canadian economy, who has been going around and trying to market himself as the average Canadian. I think that we did not have enough time to truly get to know who someone like Mark Carney is. You had a month to learn who this individual was. There's photos that were surfaced of him alongside someone like Ghislaine Maxwell, and the left ignored that entirely, which that should be the number one red flag when you are photographed alongside someone like that. People lost their minds seeing Trump with someone like Jeffrey Epstein, right? This is the same circumstance. We have a international sex trafficker who is directly associated with the Mossad, and now you can imagine that he has rubbed elbows with some very, very important people that ensure that this planet operates exactly how it's supposed to. And now the left has carried this man right to you have a minority government, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing right now. Is this going to cause the NDP to dissolve and many of those members to walk across the floor and join the Liberal Party? Is this going to cause the Bloc Québécois to now work alongside the Liberal government to then be able to make, there's a lot of things that we're looking down the pipeline at, and right now Alberta is screaming separatism, and I don't know how you feel about that. I don't care how you feel about that. It is a very interesting topic because it is causing a lot of people to come out. If we're being honest, Alberta, let's cut it. Let's cut the shit. Alberta is a province not scared of a divorce. How many people listen to this podcast have at least 3 underneath their belt? How many blue collar guys are walking around who have lost their shit, have half their shit at least 7 times through 3 marriages? Think about that. Half this province, if there is a province that is not scared of divorce, it is Alberta. What is the divorce rate here? Like 100%? Everybody has to get one? I believe that comes with citizenship at this point in time. If you have picked up a wrench in your life, chances are you're going to have a wedding band that goes on your ring finger, comes off that ring finger, and you'll put it back on again in about 4 years' time. Once you lose half your things, the kids are now, they despise you because of, the divorce was so evil towards one another. You were once in love with this woman. You knocked her up because you were on a coke-fueled bender. And, now it is what it is. Now you have 3 children with this lady, and she has been accustomed to a lifestyle that oil and gas has provided her for quite some time, and you are left to now fund said lifestyle due to the fact that, you just couldn't keep the hog in the shorts, or maybe she couldn't keep the clam. You're gone. So I get why Albertans are screaming separatism. I can understand that. I can get why, because this would be a divorce that you feel like you finally won something, like you're separating from that one. I get the analogies that a lot of these talking heads on social media are using. And they're going down, the natives are not very happy with those that are screaming about separatism. Some are, some aren't. The chiefs have come out and they've made their statements, how they're staunchly against this. And then you have them like, well, fuck you that. And we're getting like we're getting this, the the talk from all these other premiers and MLAs that this is a time for unity for Canada because we're going to need to stand up to Trump. But then we just watch someone like Mark Carney sit down with Trump and they seem very friendly, very cordial with one another. I think Trump had a hand in helping someone like Mark Carney get elected because we've spent since Prime Minister Trudeau was in office, we've watched somebody really gain some steam due to the fact that his platform was essentially just knocking down Trudeau a peg. There was no platform that he was running on that captivated many of its voters. It was just like, well, he's better than Trudeau right now. And then the left, in a very, what I would say calculated way, presented somebody like Mark Carney, who they could rally behind, even though this is something that many of them would be against. Many of them would be very, very upsetty spaghetti over the fact that you have an international banker, because these are the people too. Keep in mind, the far left are people that are screaming about eat the rich. When a CEO got his head blasted in New York City from Luigi Mangione, they were the ones that were running around in the streets, like parading around with that murder is acceptable on the wealthy. And Mark Carney is a perfect representation of somebody who is cut from that class. And now they have wrapped their arms around him being an international banker and championing this guy as if he is going to be the one that saves the country. And keep in mind, like, I'm not about to break down. I'm just the optics. I listen to what people are saying a little more now. I am trying to figure out why and how they were able to really remove themselves from the values that they had. And then with that being said, I mean, like, how they were very, very, very vocal about how they felt about a man being murdered in the streets. Now, I don't condone any form of murder. I'm not doing this podcast to be like, we got to gather the troops and get out in the streets and start clubbing people over the head. No, I just want to sit back and I want to make fun of everything, because now we were able to watch the left then get captured by slogans, elbows up. We watched every old person take arthritis pills so that way they could get their elbows at shoulder fucking height. You know what I mean? Like, they were taking painkillers just to get in on this slogan. That's what I mean. Like, it was insane. You've seen the rallies. You've seen Mark Carney's rallies. The last podcast, we went off about it. Like, most of these people would have been killed by a bowl of batwing soup. And then all of a sudden, now they're out, elbows up, elbows up. And the conservatives were like, well, we got a bigger rally. We got a, and then, like, the comparisons of being like, he's running Trump-style politics and all this nonsense. Nobody really knew what anybody was truly running on. When you talk to the general public going into this election, nobody knew who was campaigning on what. It was just like, that guy uses Trump-style politics, while Mark Carney's an international banker who's hung out with Ghislaine Maxwell. Nobody knew. Nobody knew. Nobody cares. Nobody cares really what the future looks like. It's what they feel in the moment. And if you're moved by a slogan, something as simple as axe the tax or elbows up, you know what I mean? That's all it took. All it took was putting someone like Mike Myers, putting him in a commercial with Mark Carney, and both these guys who haven't lived in the country in I don't even know how many years are now doing a pop quiz on Canadian trivia. And we're all supposed to be like, yeah, there it is, bud. Fuck. You know what I mean? Like, so that's why I did not vote. I didn't go out. I could not, and well, that's your democratic duty. Is it though? Is it? If I don't find any of these people, do I just go blindly vote? You know, I was getting dressed down by an individual there and be like, I'm not going out and voting. Well, that's your democratic duty. So it's also my democratic duty where I can sit on my fat ass and not be bothered by any of it. But here I am speaking about it because the country was in a fucking disarray for the last 2 months or a month and a half. The moment they announced that we're going to have an election Everybody went absolutely ballistic. There has never been a more clear division through this nation than right now. And I don't know how you sew it all back together, because the conservatives now, you have somebody like, even look at Pierre Poilievre. He loses his seat in his riding, and now he goes to a sure shot seat out here in Alberta, so that way he can still operate as the leader of the opposition, which is, again, this is where I lose all faith in politics. So if I lose my job, say I'm working at a Walmart on the West End and I steal all this shit, I steal so much stuff, and then they're like, you're fired. And I'm like, can't you just transfer me to the South Side location? And they're like, not a problem, buddy. You know what I mean? Like, if you failed at your job, you ran in a riding that you lost, and then all of a sudden you can just go to a new one, you can collect your salary. I start to lose faith in all of this. You know, the Conservative Party really needs to give their head a shake. I don't think that they are speaking to true conservatives now, which is leaving them in this lost space. A lot of conservative Canadians have lost any faith that they have in their party. That's what I'm noticing. Is that Pierre Poilievre is not the guy that's going to carry them to a victory anytime soon. He's not. He has presented himself as a bit of a two-faced, arrogant asshole. And a lot of people are seeing right through that now, that he does not have the capability to run and successfully win the prime minister position. And I don't know how many people have to shake their fucking heads and just erase the thought that maybe this isn't the guy. It took a month for us to realize, you know, as he was running and campaigning, we see him make stops in places like, I see a lot of conservatives that have big concerns on mass immigration. And you watch him, and he comes to certain ridings and be like, we're gonna shut her down. And then he goes to a riding out in Brampton or those areas where it's predominantly East Indian or Hindus, and starts out, well, we're gonna get direct flights from Amritsar or New Delhi to Toronto. Only half of them will make it because, well, as we've noticed, that the toilets get clogged by the time we're, halfway over the continent. But it's ridiculous. The election was just a prime example about how eroded many of our souls are. You watched a boomer population that's trying to protect its assets, and were just captivated by the television. The television told them how to think, and they repackaged what they gave to them. All it took was a commercial on CBC with Mark Carney and Mike Myers, who they probably adored from his classic films like Austin Powers in the 90s, or watched him on Saturday Night Live, and his humor really captivated my attention during that era. He was in one of the best eras. Blah, 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 blah. And all it took was him doing elbows up on Saturday Night Live, and everybody was like, oh my God, yes, that's our guy. And he's doing commercials, and we watched all the celebrities here, any notable celebrities here in Canada. They jumped on the Liberal team because I imagine that, you know, funding for the arts is already pretty hard to get your hands on. I can't imagine if you are a celebrity that makes a living off of that, and you have somebody like, let's say somebody like Pierre that's calling to remove said funding, because from a lot of these big films and these big series that are filmed here in Canada are subsidized by, you know, someone like the CBC, or they hand money. They have a budget that they have to dole out to Canadian creators, and they make their money doing that. So when your livelihood is at stake, which, like many other folks who probably voted Conservative felt that way with the Liberal Party gaining power or having a majority government, so they went out and voted for the same thing. So it's like both worlds, except one is funded over here by the public sector and the other is the private sector. So then you have two worlds clashing, and you have these celebrities here in Canada that are advocating advocating for the Liberal Party and you lose all faith because you grew up and like you work in the private sector and you watch these guys growing up and it just, you can't wrap your head around it. We've seen like many of them come out and do that. And I am boldly standing before, I'm sitting at the moment, sitting before you to say that I never advocated for anybody. I think all those sons of bitches that are sitting in the House of Commons have strategically caused the Canadian public to be at war with itself, meanwhile treating these individuals as if they are a form of celebrity, when in fact, these folks are the ones that are presenting bills, laws that affect your life directly, and we're not keeping them accountable, which is sad because now they were able to, I would say, successfully cause the Canadian public be divided over political parties. And it's sad. It's rather irritating. And many people just ignore that. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I'm awake. I'm not going to be one of these people. But you just sit back and you hear the talking points from both sides. And it's like, both of you sound retarded. It makes my head explode, And I understand that majority of the audience that comes out to support live comedy for what we're doing may probably lean a little more conservative than they would liberal. But if those that just like to laugh and come out and watch us make jokes about things, no matter our viewpoint, we can always find a way to make you chuckle. Then that's all we're really looking to do. I'm not about to go and fucking campaign with any of these goofballs. That would be totally insane at this point, because I just can't rally behind the idea that any of them have the best interests of the general public, seeing as many of the concerns of the general public were ignored during this election cycle. So that's the upsetting part, is that Canadians had concerns. Very little of them were addressed. And we watched people be turned around at campaign stops due to the certain type of merch that they were wearing, and that's on both sides. There was even liberals were going around and dropping pins at campaign stops for the Conservatives, which who's doing pins anymore? Who's doing pins? Get a megaphone. Put a psychopath out there. You know what I mean? Like, can we not just do anything correctly here? Pins? We're dropping pins? What are we doing, arts and crafts now? How many old folks were just sitting around stamping pins and then going and handing them out at the campaign stop for the Conservatives? Because the Liberals thought that this was going to be, this is going to be some CIA level top grade stuff. This is on par with, putting feds in at the convoy there with rebel flags and those Nazi flags to paint these people as all they're fascists. This is like, we can see right through it. Anybody who's just kind of like out of, you have the ability to just, something looks off here. If this person was like really about, why is he dressed head to toe? It's like when you see Antifa members that are becoming very violent, but they're always head to toe covered. Even with this mass immigration stuff that we were just talking about, was it out in Halifax or Ottawa? I'm not sure where it took place. I just seen it briefly on my timeline, but there was a group of gentlemen that were standing outside of some monument somewhere in the country. I know it was the East Coast for sure, but they were holding a sign, mass deportations now. You know what I mean? And they're head to toe in black. Is this feds? Is it not? You can't tell anymore. You can't tell anymore. There's no grassroots movements anymore because the optics aren't there. And and even if you were wanting to be a part of something like that, you fear for your livelihood being taken away because of your belief system. Does that mean that we exist in a free country? I don't know. It seems to me that it wouldn't, because if it was totally free, even those ideas should have, and that's on both sides. It's on both sides. You have to look at it like in a true vision of freedom. Both of those ideas of like, you know what, we should be able to give kids hormone blockers, and on top of it that these guys can be out in the streets with signs that say mass deportations now shouldn't be able to exist in a free society, but well, that's the court of public opinion. Enough with it. But we're seeing a shift. People are getting a little more bold, a little more brazen with their approach on things. Just recently, we had a woman. This was in, Minneapolis. We'll get into the article right away. This was quite the interesting story that took place here, folks. But to end that thought is, if we truly live in a free society, then both those people should be able to exist and present their ideas, or at least be able to platform them in public. But we like to be safeguarded in Canada. There's nothing more. We don't like to be uncomfortable. And now we're seeing a rise. Here's what I think. And you can argue with me in the comments, why don't you? But we've seen a rise in left-wing politics here that just got a little too extreme for many people's likings. I believe that most people are quite similar, where you just kind of want your life to be left alone. You want, most of us want these public services available to us, like healthcare, proper policing. You want, these social programs to exist and do their job. And you have no problem paying taxes into something like that. Granted, they are operating at optimum levels, right? And even then, you can put some error or margin. There can be some error that exists in there. You're willing to do that. Granted that you're not going to be sitting in a hospital room for 10 hours just to receive some form of treatment, because this is a system that you're paying into. And now we are watching something like the social healthcare system kind of crumble right now. And many people, well, no, it's not that bad. I mean, most people don't have a family doctor at this moment in time. And when a family doctor does appear, there's hundreds and hundreds and possibly even thousands of applications for people to have a family doctor. It just does not exist in this timeline. So what I'm trying to say is, like, most of us would be comfortable paying into a system like this if it was operating at a level that you could be satisfied, even remotely satisfied with it. But we're not seeing that. So now you have this left-wing progressivism that is like skyrocketed, and it's gotten to kind of now I know it's a very finite group of people, but they are very loud, and you're left to believe that that they're being catered to, and in some forms they are. And that can be rather irritating if you feel that those tax dollars shouldn't be allocated like that. And then when there was an audit through the spending of the federal government, there was a lot of things in there that a lot of people were concerned about. Like, why is the Canadian federal government paying for signage, I believe in Ghana, millions and millions of dollars to put billboards up, not to shit on the beaches? Meanwhile, we have people that are struggling. They are struggling with their health. They're struggling with their wealth. These social programs that are designed to keep the Canadians afloat, or these mental health programs. We're seeing them. They're plummeting. They're too full. We're advocating for open air drug use in the streets, and it's not going that well. You can use Vancouver as a prime example for that. And I think, like, right now we're getting close to the bubble bursting. We want to see change. We want to see some sort of reform. And this, I think, is where we get into a dangerous area where you're inviting in more control over your life, because that's what all this in this blur of chaos We watched the Premier of British Columbia try to take power and control out of the people, which would give him this basically a do whatever you want pass over the tariffs that Donald Trump was threatening to impose. And you see like this power grab happening in front of you. And what can you do about it? There's really nothing you can do about it. No Canadians are getting out with pitchforks by any means. Christ almighty. There was like 60, 70 people for the separatist movement outside of Parliament on a fucking Sunday. No politicians working on a Sunday. Who are you yelling at? A building? A building. That's what you're yelling at? You're causing a conundrum? Nobody's coming out to listen to you. They're all pissed to the gills at a country club right now. You think any of them are sitting in the office and being like, I'm going to put in a little overtime right now? Give your head a shake. But most of us work during the week, so you can't go down there and harass them when they'll fucking actually hear you. So what do? You're left to go out and scream and, hey, hopefully the news will come down here. Thankfully they did. And now you get nowhere with it. Other than a couple press conferences, you get some talking heads on TikTok yapping about it. Oh, lovely. We did it. We got something new for fucking people that go live on TikTok to debate over. We did it. We did it. That's all I'm seeing. It's just everybody's online and want to, hey, my opinion about this. It's like, even me, the fact that you're here listening to my dumbass talk about this should tell you a lot, okay? Should tell you a lot. I'm not sitting here trying to convince you that this is a great idea. I sit back and I look at what Premier Danielle Smith is doing and I think that she's a total bitch. Who cares? Honestly, who cares? Nothing. Do you think like tomorrow, all of a sudden we're going to wake up and be the 51st state? Is that what you think is going to happen? I'm tired of listening to these people. Even with traveling to the United States of America, I was just talking to a comic last night, and he was like, are you scared to go to the States? No. What are you talking about? No. Enough with that. You read a headline? What do you think, that people weren't getting detained at the border this whole time? Like it was just like some magical fairy tale fucking endeavor that you went through. Oh my God, they gave me a princess hat and it was like, I was walking in to the 100th anniversary at a Disney carnival. No, they're doing their job. They're doing their job. People have been getting detained. And we have a television show that we watch consistently where Canadian Border Service agents are detaining people for bringing odd fruits and vegetables from countries abroad. And we sit back and we shovel fucking carbs, just carbs down our throats as we sit on our couch and watch immigrants get arrested at the border. Where are you up in arms then? And now, because all of a sudden one woman went down to the United States of America without the proper paperwork, we're all going, everybody's getting deported to El Salvador. Is that what you think? The fact that people are so easily convinced now scares the shit out of me. I feel like, you're honestly not going to go down to yes, I'm going to go down to the United States. I don't care. You want to know what they have down there? An abundance of comedy clubs that I would like to work in. What am I going to do? Work at the 7 that are up here? I barely can. Because the mainstream media here in Canada has now made it seem like I'm the second coming of an Austrian painter that's going to step on stage and convince the public that we should storm the Capitol for the second time. And now all of a sudden, it's like, don't go down there. They treat people indifferently when you go to the border. No, they just don't want illegal bullshit. You go down there with, hey, I'm going down for 7 days, whatever your trip is, the same thing that you did when you went there prior. Nobody's trying to round up the gays down in New York City, okay? Because you've seen a couple videos of ICE agents finding illegals. Are you down there illegally? Use your head. What does your existence consist of? What is it? What does your world look like? You know what I mean? They're trying to paint this picture as if you're going to the border. Yeah, okay, somebody going down to fucking give me a location. Oh, the Disney couple. Oh, we had to redirect our flights and we're going somewhere new this year. We're going to go down to Mexico. Oh, a narco terror state. Yeah, you're going to go down there and support narcotics and arms dealers by staying at the hotels that they own down there and extort. Like that's any better. Oh, we decided to change our family trip plans, and instead of going down to take the kids to Orlando to Universal Studios, we're going to take them down to Cancun and show them what a true beheading looks like if you don't pay your drug debts, okay? Because little Charlie here has developed himself a little bit of an Adderall problem, so we're going to show him. Listen, if you want to do the drugs, you better have the money for them because I'm not bailing you out. And we're going to go and walk him down to a very rundown and scary area of Cancun and ensure that we scare the shit out of him to make sure that he has the money for the drugs that he wants to do. But thankfully, we live in a wonderful country that social programs exist in Canada where this man can, if our boy does develop a little bit of a problem, that he can go and get heroin directly injected into his veins. Thank God for that. Enough. I hope I put a bow on that thought for you. Oh, and then we have our, this one. This one is really something that has torn the internet in half. And now we have my thoughts and feelings about it, folks. Who cares, right?
Tonight, a Rochester man is sharing footage he captured of a racist incident involving his 5-year-old nephew near Soldiers Field Memorial Park. Sharmake Omar says he reported this video here behind me to police. It shows a woman yelling racial slurs at his nephew while at Roy Sutherland Playground. Tonight, he's also sharing his side of the story.
All right.
Obviously, the lady, she was very angry, very loud, a lot of racial slurs. Not only for my kids, other kids too as well on the playground and other parents.
That was Omar speaking with myself and Evening. And
let's go back. So many of you may not be privy to this story. So there was a Rochester woman out in a park. And let's see if we can find an article, actually. We should... Here we go. Woman caught in N-word tirade in Rochester raises over $600,000 via fundraising, sparking community backlash. Video recorded at a Rochester, Minnesota playground. Here, we'll bring you up to speed. The video captures Sharmake Omar confronting a woman about calling his child the N-word. We found out he's his nephew. Also, was also convicted of, I don't know if was he convicted, but there was something to do with the R word. The woman accused the boy of stealing from her child's diaper bag, according to the description of an online fundraiser created by her. Omar, who spoke over the phone with KIMT TV, doesn't believe the accusation. The woman said she started the fundraiser to help protect her family in response to the video going viral. The fundraiser has raised over $600,000. The Rochester branch of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP, also created an online fundraiser which says it was meant to support the boy and his family. That fundraiser, which no longer is active, raised $341,000. So keep this in mind as we're reading this, folks. The only way to make money these days is by being a racist. Am I wrong? Is that what it's got to take to make money these days? You know, like we're watching poverty. We're watching poverty erode communities, right? We're watching it erode these communities. We're having a difficult time how to confront it. We've tried many different things, haven't we? We've tried something like BLM. It made a few individuals very rich, in which they were able to move out of a community that is not so great and into the lovely community of Calabasas and purchase themselves a very lovely home. We've watched the NFL put the hashtags in the end zones, and unfortunately, it just hasn't worked. And this is upsetting to me. Because now this woman, this whole time, I'm over here working to the bone. I am. I'm working to the bone, day in, day out, trying to sell tickets all across the country, trying to get a career in America, And all it would have took is for me to be in a park and just to say the forbidden word, and I could have $700,000 American. That's millions in Canadian. Millions and millions of dollars in Canadian. And now this woman is going to be walking around a millionaire due to the fact that she just felt like she had to get something off her chest that day. And thank God this is not a job that AI can take. Because we can sense when somebody's being sincere and very, I guess being sincere might not be the word, but they are very, very bold with their choice of words. And I don't think AI has the capability of doing such thing to generate this type of, drama, this sort of drama that pits two sides against one another. I believe in the future that it might have the capability, but right now, as it stands, as computers and automation are taking over the job market, we're watching it slowly over time. Many people are going to be jobless. We're going to be looking at universal basic income in the near future for most people, just to basically get by, right? But this right here is a job that I don't believe that the computers can take. You can't just AI generate a video and not have this authenticity behind it. Because in the video, let's see if we can find that. In the video,
it is my own business. You call him.
All right. Her name appears to be, what is it? Shiloh LeBeau. Let's watch the video together, so that way we have an understanding of what's taking place. And ask yourself this, as we're watching this, I want you to ask yourself this. Do you believe that AI would be able to take this job?
Call him the child? Did you call the child the word? It is my own business. You call him. Okay, why don't you have the boss to say it right now again? Okay.
Oh, wow.
All right, that's what you say.
You don't go digging through people.
Nobody digging to you.
A little kid just did, you dumb.
That little kid, you call him the little child?
What if he acts like one? He's gonna.
Are you about to?
Oh, there it is. If he's going to act like one. Holy shit. You see her and you know she says it, right? Like, you see her, you can't, right? You see this woman, you know she says it. There is no, you can't deny it. You see a lady like that, you know that an N is coming. Hard R. She's going old school. You know she's going to say it. You don't have to provoke her. Say it again. And she drops a hat trick on him. A natural hat trick. N. Boom. Didn't shy away from it at all. Like I think we collectively, right, we can look at a woman like this and you know for a fact she says it. You don't even have to like coin flip on it. The gambling odds on that, the over under of how many times, I'll put the over under at 7.5 that she says in a day. 7.5. And you're going to take the over. You're going to take the over.
Okay.
Here it comes. Boom,
All
boom,
right,
boom.
That's what you say.
You don't go digging through people. You dumb.
Nobody digging to you.
A little kid just did. You dumb.
That little kid, you call him a the little child?
What if he acts like one? He's gonna.
Are you about to hit him?
There
You're
it
chasing
is.
here?
He took my son's stuff.
So that gives you the right to call the child, 5-year-old, and the N-word.
If that's what he's gonna act.
That's
like.
what you're gonna call him.
That's what he's gonna act like.
You know that's a hate speech, and you can be the that.
I don't give a.
Okay, we'll see about that. What the internet has to say about you.
Yep. We'll see what the internet has to say about that. Now, she is currently $700,000 richer because of this incident, folks. Holy Dinah. In a grand turn of events, $700,000 for dropping a few ends in a park. Makes you think, doesn't it? You know, will AI be able to take a job like that from us away? I don't think so. And now we're seeing it all over. We're seeing this all over. Now all of a sudden it's like women see this as an opportunity. OnlyFans is out the window. I have seen 4 videos this week. I seen a Chinese woman approach a black couple in a restaurant in China and accost them, threw some ends around. There was an Indian woman, I believe, in California. Now these ladies are abandoning this sexual promiscuous behavior online that generates a lot of income, and they're seeing like overnight I can make $700,000. You know, the only people pulling those types of numbers by dumping the cans are celebrities, right? We seen it with what's that, Cash Me Outside girl? She drops an OnlyFans and it was like $1.2 million in a few days, which is a little weird, you know, because we watched her on Dr. Phil as a child and says some pretty funny shit on there. And then they're like, it was like when the Olsen twins finally turned 18 and we're like, oh yeah, well, you know, I hope they do a Playboy. You know, like for me, it was like I grew up on the Olsen twins, so you kind of grow up with them. You know, it's like it's like having a girl in your class, and then finally once you graduate, and then she's like flourished into a woman, and like, you know what I mean? Like the parts then come in, and you have grown up with them. But then when they're older, you know, like if I was looking at the Cash Me Outside girl and be like, can't wait till she's 18, hopefully she drops. Then you should arrest me. You should put me in jail. And now, like that the idea of that, like OnlyFans taking over, and this is a great way to make a kabillion frickin' dollars, is completely out the window. Now you need to be out in the public and just have a minor conflict with somebody that is different racially than you, and then go for the gold and make sure that they have a phone out and start slinging them. Just arrow after arrow. Boom. N. And then G. What other ones? If it's Chinese, you go that route. You know what I mean? Like this is like AI can't take this from you. You have to be out in public, and you got to be willing to sacrifice a little. Sacrifice a little bit of your character in terms for the almighty dollar, and you, my friends, can get rich. That's the only thing left. You know, crypto is gone. OnlyFans for the ladies gone. You know, this working a traditional job to, you know, hopefully with hopes and prayers that you'll become a millionaire, it's out the window. This is all that is left. And Enjoy yourselves out there, folks. Go make your $1 million, huh? Go make your $1 million. Go on a train today and just wait for an altercation to happen. Tell them, get your phone out and I'll give you a viral video and I'm going to turn into a millionaire. How's that sound? Handshake agreement. I'll tell you what, I'll give you $100,000 out of it. Make it good. Anyways, yeah, we are still doing the voicemail. Actually, I got a very fun voicemail that I would like to, I don't know where this came from. This is nothing to do with, anything to do really with, the call-in. Now, if you wish to send me a voice note, email it to me, record it on your phone, just send me a voice note. We'll play it on the show. UncleHack@dangercats.tv. Whatever you want to talk about, bring it up. This is just, we're going to call it the Cat's Corner. That's it. Just whatever you want to get off your chest. You got a question, you got a concern, you got something that, just doesn't sit right with you. You want to give praise to somebody, whatever it is that you would like. Email your voice note, unclehack@dangercats.tv, and we'll play it on the show. This was a wild voicemail that I got over the past weekend. I don't know who it was intended for, but it has been making me laugh, and I want to share it with you. So enjoy.
By the way, you done shitting yet? Pissing in buckets for the last 2 years? You're so goddamn lazy. Fuck you.
So somebody is getting the royal business, taking bad shits and pissing in buckets. And I don't know why, but I was in tears. I was laughing at that. So anyways, wanted to share that with you. Head on over to the Patreon, patreon.com/dangercat69. Join us today for another an extra episode. We're talking about the Killdozer replication that took place in Bonnyville. Many things. We'll go a little harder on the page. For the cost of a beer, you can head on over and support this show today. The cost of a beer a month, I should say, and join the Patreon. We'd really appreciate it, and we thank you for being here. Sorry for the delay. I was a little under the weather, and we'll catch you next week. Good night, everybody.